Hey y'all, welcome to another episode of THKD TV. Today a little bit of a collection update to do for you guys. I mentioned, I think, a couple videos back that I've been finding a lot of used black metal at the record stores around here lately. Looks like somebody sold a collection and it got divvied up between a couple different Dimple Records locations. So I've been going there periodically and reaping the benefits. I haven't bought up everything that I've found there, but I've bought up quite a bit of it. So I wanted to show you guys a couple things that I picked up. Actually, I guess kind of quite a few things. So hopefully this video won't drag on too terribly long, but want to show you guys a bunch of stuff because some of it is pretty cool. Again, I'm a CD guy, so I will be showing CDs today. If you are a vinyl fetishist, I encourage you to look elsewhere. But I just wanted to kind of show you some things that I picked up here lately. I think a lot of them are pretty cool. So first up, this one I was very surprised to find was Nifflheim, the first album from Throne of Ahaz. Throne of Ahaz was a Swedish black metal band. They weren't around for very long. I think they only lasted, I want to say, from 1991 to 1996. They put out 2 albums. This is their first one. Again, it was recorded in, I want to say, 1993, but it didn't get put out until 1995. And can't help but wonder, did the delay in their album getting released lead to their downfall? Maybe they would have caught on a little more had it come out back in 93 when it was actually recorded and completed, but either way, this is still a very cool, sort of unsung gem of Swedish black metal. Very similar to Darkthrone in a lot of respects. The first couple Darkthrone albums, well, not Soulside Journey, but I should say the first couple black metal Darkthrone albums, very similar in style and composition to those. Very dark and cold atmospheres you'd expect from Scandinavian black metal. But they don't do anything really to anything really super unique, but they just do that style very well. So in that respect, it's worth checking out because it's a great example of early Swedish black metal, and definitely worth looking into if you can find a copy. I think you might be able to find it on Discogs for a somewhat reasonable price. This I only paid like $6.99 or something ridiculously cheap for it. So very cool find. Very excited to have this kind of obscure Swedish black metal piece in my collection. Speaking of Darkthrone, I also managed to pick up this Preparing for War. It's the box set version. It's got 2 discs and a DVD. So I haven't watched this. I haven't watched the DVD yet. I'm familiar with all these tracks, though. I mean, I have them in other releases. I mean, their demo and rehearsal tracks have been re-released with different names a million times, and I'm kind of a sucker in that they can slap the Darkthrone logo on pretty much anything and I'll buy it. But this is really cool again because it's got the DVD, which I still have yet to watch, but I need to do it. And it's just kind of a neat little packaging wise as well. It's a little box that opens up here. And it's got some liner notes inside and then a booklet that's actually quite extensive as far as the liner notes goes. Just got the Darkthrone logo on and the title on the front, but as you can see, it's got a ton of liner notes and photos. Quite a large booklet, so that'll be cool to go through because I haven't really cracked this open too much yet. And then it's got all the 2 discs and the DVD inside these little cardboard sleeves. So I thought this was a cool piece. I have the 1-disc version of Preparing for War, and it's actually on a like a Russian, some kind of Russian version of Blaze in the Northern Sky, but it also has the 1 single disc version of Preparing for War on it. So again, I was familiar with most of these tracks, but again, I just thought this was a cool piece for collector purposes. I think this was kind of limited as far as, I don't know what the limitation was, but it's pretty hard. I feel like it's pretty hard to come by these days. So that was a cool find as well. Then sticking with Norway for a minute, I found 2 releases from Troll. We've got The Last Predators. Last Predators, sorry about the glare. And then Universal here. And if you've never heard Troll, On these particular albums, they sound kind of almost industrial black metal-ish, kind of like if you remember the label Moonfog that was Satiricon's label. It kind of has that same vibe as a lot of those bands like Thorns and Satyricon around the time of Rebel Extravaganza, as well as DHG or Dot Ims Guard, if you will, around that time period as well. These are pretty cool. I really like that kind of industrial-ish black metal sound, so these are really cool to check out. I believe their other stuff's a little more traditional sounding, but I really like that kind of futuristic style. I don't know how futuristic it sounds these days, but definitely pretty cool and very unique sound. So happy to get those as well. And then next we'll go over to Finland for a little Sargeist action. Picked up Sargeist split with Horned Almighty. And I wasn't familiar with Horned Almighty at all, but these tracks that are on here, they've got four tracks from each band. The Horned Almighty tracks are really good. I like Sargeist a little more, but definitely a cool introduction to Horned Almighty, and I'll have to go out and check out some of their full lengths. This came out on Moribund Cult, who has put out a lot of good stuff, or used to put out a lot of good stuff. I haven't really been terribly impressed with a lot of their output here recently in the past, 5 years or so, but they used to put out a lot of really cool stuff, like Wind of the Black Mountain, Leviathan, Zaster, who else am I forgetting? Winter of Apocalypse. They're supposed to put out some Creebane album, but I don't think that ever came out. So, but yeah, they put out a lot of good. Oh, Ayat, that band's really cool. 6 Years of Dormant Hatred and Carry On, Carry On. Those are both really good albums as well. And I think Ayat's second album came out on Moribund. I know for sure their first one did, but either way, that's a cool band to check out as well. But yeah, Sargeist and Horned Almighty. Again, the Horned Almighty tracks are really cool. If anybody has recommendations for where to start with them as far as albums, I haven't really looked into their discography, but I'd be interested to know where is a good place to begin with them. And then, of course, Sargeist, as always, is amazing. So this is cool to pick up. Again, to have more Sargeist material is always welcome, and to get introduced to Horned Almighty as well. The second piece from Sargeist I grabbed was The Rebirth of a Cursed Existence. This is a collection of split and EP tracks all on one CD. And what's cool about this is, and surprising also, is how consistent in quality and sound all these tracks are. I mean, if you didn't know any better, you'd probably just think it was an album rather than a compilation, because they all sound, as far as quality-wise, all sound really good. Certain other compilations I've had that are similar, just picking up songs from different splits and EPs and that type of thing. The recording quality and production vary so much that it's kind of jarring to listen to, but this all sound really good, and I think that's probably speaks to how professional Sargeist are and what an accomplished band they are, that they can put together all these tracks from different time frames and different releases, and it all sounds consistent and sounds cohesive. And cool thing about Sargeist, finding these recently, Sargeist was actually the first show I went to after we moved from Des Moines, Iowa here to Sacramento. That was the first show that we attended down at Starlight Lounge, and that show was really, it just blew me away. They were very, very good. One of the best black metal shows I've been to. Not sure if it was the best black metal show, but it was definitely up there for me. And it was just cool to see a band like Sargeist, who doesn't tour the U.S. very much, to get to see them and have that be my first show after we moved here. So, again, Sargeist, if you've never listened to these guys, amazing Finnish black metal. Definitely check them out. They just put out a new album called Unbound, and from what I've listened to of it so far, I haven't had a chance to really sit down with it, but what I've heard so far is very good. I believe it's a completely different lineup, with the exception of Shatrog, who is the main writer, guitarist, who's also in Horna and a slew of other bands. But definitely check out Unbound. Like I said, I still need to sit down with it, but what I've heard of it so far, even with the completely revamped lineup, sounds pretty amazing. So Sargeist, always a good band to check out. Now, moving on, going back to Sweden, a couple releases from Marduk, and I'm not sure, are Marduk still sketchy, or are we cool to talk about them now? Whatever the case, I still like Marduk. I know it's probably not the cool kid thing to do anymore, but I still dig them. I have most of their stuff. Whenever I see something of theirs I don't have, I always grab it if it's reasonably priced. So I picked up one I didn't have here, World Funeral. This came out, well, I don't remember what fucking year it came out. Who am I kidding? But this is the remastered and expanded edition. It's got, looks like, of course, the remastered version of the album, and then it's got a bunch of rehearsal tracks as well. And I'm familiar with the album, but I haven't listened to these rehearsal tracks yet, so still need to sit down with this one and kind of dig into it. But Marduk's always a good band if you're into that traditional Swedish black metal sound. They've continued to kind of grow and evolve over the years, and I like all the eras of the band. I like the Legion era, I like the current era, with Mortis on vocals. I think that they're still putting out a lot of good stuff, and they've evolved their sound contrary to what some people would have you believe. They continue to grow as a band. So again, that's the expanded edition of World Funeral. Stoked to dig into that one a little bit more as well. And then, of course, going back a little further, I found a copy of Heaven Shall Burn When We Are Gathered. Surprisingly, I didn't have this one yet. It's one of their earlier releases. Again, I do have most of their stuff, but there's still a few holes in their discography that I'm slowly but surely picking up. If you haven't heard this album, of course, it's kind of a classic of Swedish black metal along with their other earlier material. So definitely check that out if you are into that sound. And I blew through those a lot quicker than I thought I was going to. I wanted to make this kind of short and sweet, just so you guys could see a couple things I picked up here lately. I actually have a bunch more stuff to show you, but I'm going to save it for a separate video. So be on the lookout for that here in the coming weeks. Until then, thank you guys so much for watching. I'll put up links to all these bands, at least the ones that have an internet presence, so you can check them out if you haven't done so already. If you like black metal, I think you'll want to check out any of those bands that you're not familiar with. I hope you know most of them, but if you don't, definitely seek them out, and I will put up links so you can do that. But again, until next time, thanks for watching, guys. Take care.